Well, hello, happy Monday, everybody. What a surprise I'm coming on today. I mentioned last week that I'm going to be out of town this coming Thursday. Wasn't sure if I'd make a live, but I'm inspired today. So I decided to come on today because of a story that happened at the end of last week that I feel is relevant to share and something to be paying attention to when you're having experiences during your day, during your life, things going on. Hello, Isabel. Good to see you. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Araya, and the For the Love of Dragons group is my way to reach everybody and be that guide. Hello, Nancy, for working with the dragons, for getting in communication with them directly, for expanding your relationship with them. I wrote a book back in 2007 called The Dragon Within that's now available on Amazon on Kindle, paperback, and hardcover versions. And by the end of this month, it's going to be in English, French, and Spanish in all those versions. Very excited. But what's happening right now and why I have a story to tell today is because of the meditations that I was working on recording on Friday in the French sector. So getting some meditations done in French. So we'll start with the story because it was a very odd thing that happened on Friday night. I rarely have car problems. When I do, it's something that I can definitely, get home or manage to get somewhere where I can arrange easy, shift around, right? So Friday night, I had a car full of young boys because my son was having his birthday party, and lo and behold, start the car, and by the time I get to the freeway to head back to pick up pizzas and get home, the electrical system in the car is freaking out. There's something going wrong. The lights are dim, the battery's operating in a weird way, the car is sort of chugging along, and granted, it's a 22-year-old classic vehicle, but I love it. It's been so reliable, and apparently there were some problems going on with the alternator. Needless to say, the whole thing was the electrical system. Got to the pizza place, picked up the pizzas. I said, boys, I'm leaving the car running because there's a parking space right in front. The door is right there. We're going to leave the car on. I'm going to run in and get the pizzas, come out, put them in the car. And as we backed out of the parking space, the engine died. Okay, so we pushed it forward into the little red curb there. Managed to get a jump start, jumped right away, beautiful. Driving over to get out of the large parking lot and turn left onto the road that would take me home, car died. Oh no. So just angels were all around me. Had guys show up to push the car into a parking space over on the other side, got me out of the turn lane. It all was actually very easy and in flow, and I was just watching the whole thing unfold because it's such an unusual event to have electrical stuff going. But the reason I'm telling the story is because it continued. I had to get a tow truck, so I had to call my insurance to set up the tow truck to get it to the shop. While I'm on hold, actually, after that was taken care of, I had to call to get a taxi to get home with my youngest son and I. My father came and picked up the rest of the boys and took them over to the house with the pizzas. And calling the taxi, my phone actually died completely. I don't think it was that low on battery, but its electrical system went out. Hi, Anger, good to see you. So I'm thinking, wow, isn't this odd? So I had to actually walk in the store that was right there, borrow their phone, ask to use their phone to call a taxi in order to get home. And then it continued the next morning. I was thinking, oh my goodness, there's something, the universe is trying to tell me something about electrical systems, but typically things come in threes when I have a very serious message to pay attention to. So the next morning I get up, and I'd left my iPad charging all night long because I was going to need it the next day. Wake up on Saturday morning, go to open the iPad, and it's on low battery, 10%, because it had been draining all night instead of charging because the plug, somehow, I don't know if the dogs knocked it or what crazy thing happened, but the electrical, the plug-in for the USB port had been just jarred. It wasn't actually plugged in and charging all night. So that was the third thing in a row of bringing my attention to the electrical systems. And I thought, all right, so Spirit is trying to get a message to me. And this is the big reason I'm sharing the story, because there's always, especially when there's three things happening and they're on a consistent theme, Your guides are trying to get a message to you to pay attention so that you're aware of something bigger. So all these things have to do with electrical system, and it finally hit me later because that day I had been working on recording the meditations in French for both the Earth Dragon and the Air Dragons. And the Earth Dragon is a meditation that essentially knocks you out of your center. It puts you back more closely aligned to your true center by clearing out a bunch of debris. Because the center that we operate on in the majority, especially when we're just walking around before we really wake up to the bigger picture of the world, but even as we start our healing process, we are slowly getting more and more aligned to our true self. And the dragons have a way to kickstart that with the Earth Dragons to actually knock you off balance, knock you off your quote, what you believe is your center with all your belief systems and everything else that's in place that are actually the veils that are holding you boxed in, the pieces that are keeping you, hi DJ, sort of locked into a set of parameters that really aren't the truth and aren't reality. So the Earth Dragons take this work and they knock you off your center so that you get realigned as they clear out a bunch of stuff to a center that is actually more close to your actual center. And the more times you do it, obviously, the closer you will get to your actual center, where you start aligning to the truth of you, remembering the truth of you, and getting connected to your higher aspect. So in that was one of the meditations I was working on that day, as was with the Air Dragons. And the Air Dragons, I was doing a meditation and working into a higher perspective in realigning the framework of the brain. So looking at both of those together, I finally realized, I was like, oh my goodness, my whole electrical system is being rewired, and all of these things happening in my world are reflecting that and showing me, because every event that happens in our world, in our reality, is actually showing and mirroring us something that's going on in ourselves. So here, my whole energy body, my electrical system was actually being rewired and needed that, because even when I'm recording the meditations and working with the dragons, I'm still moving through that work. I'm still getting all that work. And so it was bringing to the forefront of my mind, oh my goodness, I've been knocked off my center along with this higher perception. And this now is affecting my electrical system, my whole framework of my energy bodies, my circuits, my connections, so that I'm flowing in a better flow. It's getting me onto a better alignment of a more clear center. And bringing that into conscious awareness, which is what all these external events are about, right? They're trying to get a message. They're trying to mirror and show you what's going on internally that you're not paying attention to, that would be really good to have in your conscious mind. Because when you take it to the conscious level, it actually incorporates all of the bodies instead of just the unconscious bodies, and actually has a greater, deeper effect. Also, because we realize we're being realigned, we have this awareness of, oh my goodness, this is why this is not aligning anymore. This is why these relationships or this doesn't feel right anymore. This is why my appetite changes this week. Or maybe now I'm feeling I'm drawn to coffee this week instead of tea, because as my electrical circuits realign, something there needs to filter in or out. And our subtle shifts and changes around us in what we're craving and what our body is wanting. I know people that are going through work and they're vegans, and all of a sudden they're needing meat, and they're like, what? I just did this work with this dragon and I'm feeling like I need to go have a hamburger. Well, you know what? Honor your body and listen, because there's something in that, whatever you're being guided to, whether it's a book to read, something to eat, that is inherently going to benefit you. Even if it's that one meal, even if it's that one book, that one song that you need to go and listen to right now because there's a lyric in it that's going to click something into place in your brain. So this is where that element of trust that we talk about a lot comes in, of allow the guidance to come in, allow the pieces, the breadcrumbs to fall into place. And it's for all of us. You know, I'm usually quite aware, and here in the course of an evening to the next morning, I was given a significant thing immediately until there were 3 to really hit me in the face with this message of paying attention to my electrical system so that I can tune in more deeply of, all right, my electrical system's being realigned. I sort of knew that, and I feel like it was the completion, because coming back from Kailash in September, I had about a month of real struggle physically in recovering with all the energy work that happened there. And as you guys know, like why I wanted to record the meditations in French as soon as I got back. Well, I've just actually get into it last week because my vocal cords were going through a rewrite. They were going through a whole recalibration, and I could feel it because when I tone and I do work with people in my healing sessions, there's actually about a year and a half ago, everything shifted to where instead of individual tones, there were harmonic layers coming through with at least 3 harmonics in each one, which was a broader spectrum range of frequency and code that could pass through. And I knew coming back from Kailash, I was shown by my guides that that is recalibrating again to something even higher, something even bigger as far as a vessel to move through with sound. So waiting for all of that in my throat, and you guys heard my voice go up and down, and I'd be speaking high and then low and all in the same sentence, and scratchy and hoarse and coughing and full of mucus and all kinds of stuff to clear. It finally cleared last week, but the interesting thing was, and I'm just realizing this now in hindsight, that after Kailash, I had this sense at about 3 or 4 weeks in that, you know what, there's roughly a 6-week time frame of integration that's going to happen that will put me into about the first week of December. And that was for all of us, that, you know what, the ride's not over. We've had the first couple weeks back from Kailash. We're finally getting to where we can actually get out of bed and function, because there were a lot of big things happen then. And now we have a serious 5 to 6 week integration time to complete everything. And this whole event with my electrical system finally being actually unplugged, I feel, and replugged into its new, I actually feel like a fairly new person this week. I feel like something big has shifted into place. And so this is where I'm sharing this, because I want you, one, to be aware of the things that are happening in your life, that you're paying attention to those messagings. But also, especially after deep work with the dragons, if you've been working with one dragon in particular or doing a couple meditations with several of them, and then you get these events, pay attention and tie it into the work that you were just doing, and wait for the messages and the breadcrumbs and the other pieces to click into place where you can have that aha moment of, oh my goodness, this is what I was shown a while back, or this is what I've been sort of feeling going on, and look at, here it is manifesting, so that you have the double play. Because that work with the dragons, it's deep, it's profound, it's rapid, it's efficient, and things will show up in your external life to reflect the deeper work that you're doing. So why don't you just have that on your plate this week, have that in your field to feel into, especially as we move into lots going on with the holidays. Some of you are going to have breaks and some time to really have some downtime to work more with the dragons. I encourage you to do that. Use the meditations. If you haven't gotten them yet, there's a free one on the site called Calling in Your Dragon. A lot of people are new in the group. We're over 1,200 members now, you guys. That's very exciting to me, because I'm just letting it grow organically. And hitting 1,200 felt like a magical thing moving into December. And so there's all these tools, right? There's a Calling in Your Dragon meditation that's for free if you haven't tried it. Even if you've been in the group forever, you might not realize that on the dragonwithin.com site, it's available. And then on the page, there's actually a page you can go to see all the meditations that are available to download with the different dragons. So right now the elementals are in place. You can get the whole suite of all 4. Very soon, hopefully by Christmas, I should have them on in French. And then I'm going to start adding the black, the white, and the crystal next, working with those. So my goal is over the next year to keep giving you guys more tools, to put more meditations in there, to shake it up and do some where there's some dragons combined in the work, to bring you more and more different tools to keep you moving forward and progressing in your work with the dragons. Because there's always so much more that they offer. And even if you download and get a meditation, doing it again and again is so important, that there's always more layers of work. If you've worked through the book and you are feeling called for some reason, the air dragons keep showing up and you're like, why? I worked with you 2 years ago. They've got something new for you. They've got another level to take you to, because that's how they work. They were continually pushing you up to your next best level, to your next breakthrough, to your next dissolution of something, to break free and break through. So pretty exciting for me, because I've been wanting these meditations on there for quite some time, and even having the books in French and Spanish coming out this month, it's been something that actually I looked at the contract, it started in February, and there's been all these delays and redos and errors that weren't caught and sending me the wrong files, and crazy process. But I know that there's some kind of divine perfection in it all coming out now when I have the recalibrated vocal aspect for recording and starting to get them out there, because they're actually both going to come out around the same time, which maybe that's the magic and perfection of it. We always have to trust and know in divine timing, everything just works out exactly how it's supposed to. So in divine timing, thank you for showing up on Monday. Everybody that's catching the replay, I apologize if you were waiting for Thursday, but I wanted to at least be sure to come on this week and not miss you guys, because one, I love talking to you guys, I love giving you more tools, and I like to be consistent. So that said, I'm looking forward to the Eye of the Dragon program starting in January. Amazing group come together. I'm actually over capacity at this point, waiting to see indeed if I'm holding with 9, which is what I've always said is the limit, or if the dragons for some reason are pushing me to have 12. We'll see. I always go with what they want, even though it might tax me heavily. So we'll see what that's going to entail. But wow, what an exciting group. I'm very, very anxious to see where this group goes, both individually and dynamically as a group, because it's such powerhouse work. And if that's not the right program for you, or you know you're called to it, but it's maybe not the time, I am going to be scheduling the next book club, probably starting end of January, beginning of February, for those of you that have been waiting for the next book club, because that, beyond the work with the book or individual meditation work, is really a powerhouse dynamic that in 6 weeks a whole bunch of transformation happens. So if you know, that typically does fill up. If you know that you're interested in it or thinking about it, send me a post message or an email so that I have your name to put down on the list, because I usually will notify those that are on the short list first, so that they get, because that is only 10 spaces, I make sure that they get notified first. So have a great week, you guys. I might come on again unexpectedly if I'm inspired when I'm down in Southern California. Otherwise, I will see you a week from Thursday, and look forward always to connecting with you guys. Bye, everybody. Have a great week.